I'm David Rose, and here's a look at some of our top cases with Crime Stoppers featured on Washington's Most Wanted this weekend, starting with new clues in the heart-wrenching murder of a young man on Mother's Day. At 18 years old, Connor Dassa-Holland barely had a chance to spread his wings before he was shot and killed in front of his family's home. He was an impressive young man with a long list of achievements, an honors student, captain of his high school football team, who was studying pre-law at the University of Washington, a passionate advocate for equity and social justice, a friend to everyone who didn't care where you came from or what your background was, which is why his murder is so devastating. Take a look at this map showing where Connor was killed at about 10 p.m. in the Rainier Beach community on May 10th, just south of the intersection of 51st Avenue South and South Fletcher Street. He was moving his family's car to park in front of their home when he was ambushed and shot. Now, I want you to watch and listen to some surveillance video taken the night Connor was killed. You're going to hear the gunshots, somebody screaming who detectives have not identified. Then you'll see a witness vehicle approaching. It will pass the suspect's vehicle off camera. Then you're going to see the shooter's car appear and speed away northbound. So let's give you a closer look here. Detectives really want to talk to the witnesses in that light-colored car seen driving south on 51st Avenue South. And they're especially hoping somebody can tell them anything at all about the suspect vehicle.
Anything regarding this suspect vehicle is critical. Maybe there was damage to it. Maybe a hubcap missing. Maybe it was a two-door or four-door. We just need that information. So no matter how little you think it is of importance to you, it's very important to us. We're asking for anonymous tips. If your tip leads to the arrest and charge, you're going to get $6,000 from Crime Stoppers. Yeah.
On Thursday, Merle and I put up Crime Stoppers reward posters at the memorial for Connor in front of his home. Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound is offering a $1,000 cash reward, and Connor's friends and family have donated another $5,000 for a total of $6,000 for the tipster that helps Seattle police solve this case. Connor's family has a saying that his dad uses at all of the kids' sporting events. Let's do this thing. And it means more now than ever. So as his dad always says, let's do this thing. And you're going to get $6,000 in cash if you can provide the tip that leads to an arrest in Connor's case. You will remain anonymous. So if you know who was in that witness vehicle, or especially if you can tell them who killed Connor or where to find that suspect vehicle, please submit a tip right now through the Crime Stoppers P3 Tips app that you can download to your cell phone for free, or you can always call 1-800-222-TIPS. U.S. Postal Service inspectors need your help tonight to identify a burglary suspect accused of targeting several post offices in Kitsap County. Since early January, the same man is believed to have stolen more than 100 packages from post offices in Southworth, Keyport, Manchester, and Tracyton. In his latest heist in late June, inspectors say he also stole a postal computer and financial documents. Inspectors say he's driving this red 1997 Dodge Neon. Surveillance video from outside the post office in Southworth shows him walking across the street from his car to case the place for about 10 minutes before returning to his vehicle and then pulling it around into the parking lot to set up his big strike.
The suspect pulled his car up to the back door and actually piled just parcels, as many as he could fit into his car, and drove off. Stolen several parcels from the back and stolen a little bit of mail as well. And right now, that's a big impact on some of these communities. The post office, especially in some of these small areas, is playing a very big and vital role in kind of life today. A lot of people are getting essential supplies, and somebody's coming out here to steal some of those things, and it's a little bit ridiculous.
Inspectors think the suspect is in his 20s or 30s, 5'10" to 6 feet tall. He's slender with short hair, but it's the way he has to get out of his car that inspectors want you to take notice of.
We were able to determine from the video he actually can't open the door from the inside. He's got to reach out and open it from the outside of the vehicle. So we think that's a pretty distinctive characteristic of the vehicle that somebody might recognize or remember. So if you know that vehicle, you know who might be driving that vehicle, please let us know through Crime Stoppers. This is a federal crime to break into a post office, and to do it 4 times in 4 different places is a big issue. So that's why we're out here, and that's why we're asking for the community's help in this.
All right, if you recognize him or his Dodge Neon that inspectors say has some flaking paint on it, use the P3 Tips app. Submit the information to Crime Stoppers right now. You can also call the 1-800-222-TIPS hotline. It's anonymous, and you're going to get a cash reward of up to $1,000 if your tip leads to his arrest. Tonight, Kirkland police need your help to catch an armed robbery suspect who sure acts like a rookie criminal. I want you to take a look at this surveillance video from a 76 gas station on 116th Avenue Northeast. This was on Friday, June 12th. He puts the trash bag on the counter and points the handgun at the clerk and demands the employee open the cash register. But then, unbelievably, he sets the gun on the counter and then starts emptying the cash register as the clerk stands back with his hands up. Amazingly, the suspect seems to forget that he even brought the trash bag with him. Starts stuffing the money into the waistband of his pants, even dropping some of the cash on the floor, leaning over to pick it up, leaving the gun on the counter. Well, then he finally grabs the rest of the money and scoops up the trash bag and then leaves on foot. No vehicle was seen.
We're concerned because while he was successful on this crime, we're worried that he may try it again. It's obvious that he was flustered and maybe stressed out at the time. The way he handled the weapon, the way he disregarded it for a moment in time, we're worried that somebody's going to get hurt, maybe even him. That's why we would like to identify him, take him into custody before he tries to do this again, and ultimately somebody gets hurt.
Police say the clerk did everything right. The little bit of money stolen was not worth risking his life over, and they're working off the assumption that this may be the suspect's first robbery. Detectives describe him as about 5'9" or 5'10", with a medium, stocky build, unknown race or age. He was wearing black pants and brown shoes with white soles. He wore gray and green gardening-style gloves, and he had on a black face mask with sunglasses and a red baseball cap. So if you know who this is, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Again, you're always anonymous. Submit that tip through the P3 Tips app or call 1-800-222-TIPS. A recent rash of marijuana store robberies have owners and employees on edge. And tonight, Seattle police are asking for your help to identify two suspects who struck late at night. Surveillance video from the shop on Greenwood Avenue North on Friday, May 29th at 11:40 p.m. shows a customer leaving in his car as the two suspects ask him if it's open and then enter the store. One is armed with a gun, the other is carrying a garbage bag. Now, the video shows the gunman collecting the cash, even dropping much of it on the ground, as the second suspect is over there on the left stealing marijuana products and filling up his bag. And then that second suspect comes over and helps steal the cash, even taking the employee tip jar, and then having the nerve to demand that employee give him some more product.
You know, as a former robbery detective, I watch how they approach people, kind of their body language and things. They're nervous, but to me, it's not their first time. They're kind of controlled. You watch the weapon. It's a dangerous thing. He's pointing it around. They're kind of bumbling things, the cash, drop a little cash, drop some of the marijuana products, but they load everything into this black garbage sack, and before long, they're out the door, and they're going northbound on Greenwood.
Detectives believe the gun he was carrying is likely a Century Arms Micro Draco AK pistol that comes with a 30-round magazine.
These guys brag about what they do. They like to show off their stuff. Maybe somebody's shown it to you, or maybe you've heard of somebody that's carrying a gun like that.
The armed suspect was noticeably shorter than the other one, probably around 5'7". He had a zipper on his face mask. Detectives described them as teenage males, possibly white. If you know either of their names or have any other information to help Seattle police locate them, submit that anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound for a cash reward of up to $1,000. Well, tonight, several great captures to update you on, thanks to tips from you. Seattle police have arrested this suspect who handed a note to a Bank of America teller implying she had a weapon and demanding money on May 1st. Detectives say your tips identified her as 48-year-old Angela Anderson. Her criminal history includes convictions for burglary second degree and assault third degree in Washington in 2014, as well as theft first degree, kidnapping second degree, harassment and theft third degree in Oregon, and grand theft in California. Now, she would still be on the streets if not for a sharp-eyed Washington's Most Wanted viewer who spotted her in downtown Seattle and flagged down a Seattle police sergeant.
He says, that gal was featured on Washington Most Wanted as a bank robbery suspect. And if you go to the website, you'll see what I'm talking about. So he approaches the female suspect. He walks up and he goes, do you recognize this person? She looks at it and goes, that's me. She just cops right out. So they cuff her up, take her back to the precinct, turn her over to the robbery detectives. She sits in there and gives a full confession. That's awesome. And it's because of you watching the show, Washington Most Wanted, we now have another bank robbery suspect in custody.
Prosecutors have charged Anderson with attempted robbery in the first degree. She's being held on $30,000 bail. Huge props to the Kirkland Police PROACT team and to you for the tip that led to the arrest last week of 3 suspects charged with breaking into the Kirkland Public Works Maintenance Center on March 25th. Detectives say they stole tens of thousands of dollars worth of tools and a city truck later found in Bellevue. The 3 suspects showed up in 2 cars. One of them was a gray Acura. And the break in the case after a viewer submitted a tip to Crime Stoppers identifying the driver of the Acura as 39-year-old Jason Howard from Sumner. Detectives on the PROACT team then tracked down Howard, as well as 36-year-old Alicia Crush and 51-year-old Richard Hughes, and arrested them after extensive investigation and surveillance.
Thanks to Crime Stoppers and Washington Most Wanted and David Rose, once again, we were able to solve this crime. Without the TV program airing, without David, we would have never been able to solve this crime at all. We had exhausted all leads back in mid-May, and it was only because of the anonymous tipster that called in, giving us that information, that we were able to put this together and solve this crime.
Kirkland police say they were able to obtain a confession for one of the suspects, but have not yet located the stolen tools. All 3 suspects have been charged, and they're free right now on bond, awaiting trial. Well, those captures bring the total number of fugitives that you've helped catch to 1,163. So that's a look at some of the cases featured this weekend. We've got a whole bunch more on Washington's Most Wanted tonight at 11 o'clock on Q13 Fox, Saturday night at 9:30 on Joe TV, and 10:30 on Q13 Fox, and 10:30 on Fox stations in Spokane, Yakima, and the Tri-Cities. Let's make sure these criminals have nowhere left to hide.